Hello, my name is Wilma, you're watching NB Reads, and today's vlog is going to be a little bit different because I started this vlog in 2022, and my life was so different 2.5 years ago. It's a bit of a jump scare when you'll see them, but honestly, I have a little bit of a crush on my past self. They are so messy, so honest, so less constricted by thoughts and feelings in their head, and I feel so much love for them. So this was actually really fun to look back and edit because I haven't watched any of the footage while I was doing the vlog. The next two books after 2022 that I read one this summer and then one a couple of months ago. So this is a long-spanning vlog, very unintentionally, but I just really wanted to finish it. But just keep that in mind when you're watching the first clip. I hope you enjoy. But let's get into it. 2022 Wilma, take it away. Hello, it's me, your favorite Capricorn. So, it's been a minute. I bet you're surprised to see me pop in your notifications on your feed. A lot has happened. Life's been pretty good. But yeah, I'm depressed again. So I've decided to take this whole week off to just like focus on me, do something that's hobby fueled and not like work fueled, because it's been like a lot with drag and creative things and I just can't be creative. So my best hobby for doing exactly that is like reading. I don't have any monetization on YouTube, but this is just for fun and we can talk about books together, which is great. The reason why I'm like finally able to do something like this is because I'm actually in a relationship now. I know. Can you even picture it? I can't picture it. So we've been together for 2 months, and this week they're going away for 5 days to do filming, shoot that they're working on, which is fun for them, but I'm like, oh no, what will I do with all this free time that I have now? And I actually started reading a little bit again, which I haven't really been doing at all. Like, I've started a ton of books and they've just been like piling up, and I don't really feel like finishing any of them, but I'm fine with it. So I did finish today Liar Mouth by John Waters, which was a recommendation I got from Molly, which was fun. I'm really glad I read it. It's like such a disgusting read, but I think I will actually be doing a wrap-up of everything I've read since last time at some point fairly soon, just because I'm doing nothing this week. Like, I set off the whole week of doing absolutely nothing, and then I have to make decisions about my life after that, which is like good because I'm finally taking care of my mental health. But in this reading vlog, if you read it from the title, I am basically going to be reading 3 books with heaven in the title for no reason at all. I've just had them as a plan in my bookshelf for a really long time, and I'm like, well, they're all short. Let's get to it. They're different. Could be fun. So we have Heaven by Mieko Kawakami. I haven't read any of her other books, so this will be fun. Then this is also Heaven by Emerson Whitney. I believe this, the author is non-binary, and this is like a non-fiction kind of like letter or something like that that they've written to their mother. Don't really know more than that, but I also had it for on my TBR for a long time. And then we have Ursula K. Le Guin book called The Lathe of Heaven. All very different. I'm excited to read them, but I think to ease into it a little bit, I'm going to start with this one because I have a feeling it's the contemporary one out of these. Probably an easier read. I will be working at ARC, the volunteering bookstore that I work at at least twice this week, just to like force myself to get out of my home. I'm also wearing a butt plug t-shirt, and I like it a lot. It's new. Okay, let's read. Let's do it. Let's start reading. Okay, it's many hours later, and I haven't done nothing today except like get water, eat leftovers and whatnot. I only got like 16 pages into it because there's a lot of very descriptive and like visual bullying. That was a lot, like huge trigger warning, and I was just like, whoa, am I in the right headspace for this? And at the same time, it was like a little bit boring, so a little bit too intense and not intense enough at the same time. But now I think it's gonna move faster. It's basically about this main character. Do we know his name? Maybe we don't. It's about a 14-year-old boy who gets like very severely bullied, physically and verbally and psychologically, I guess. And he starts receiving these notes written for him that are hidden in like places in school and his backpack and notebook and whatever. They meet up. It turns out to be this girl who also gets bullied, and they start sending notes back and forth to each other and kind of finding a connection and being able to console in each other and their situations being similar. But I have a feeling it's also going to involve self-harm, so that's fun. I love that in my life right now. Being the indulgent, depressed person that I am, I got like a lemonade. Yeah, a frozen lemonade. For reference, it's been raining and thundering all day. So this is exactly what I needed. That's good. It's like mint. It's like a strong mint. And I also got... Ooh! I got a cheesecake, but I only ordered one. But I got 2 pieces of cheesecake. Cheesecake is my favorite thing ever, so I got some and had it delivered to my door. Oh my god. This is a judgment-free space, okay? Cool. Let's keep reading. I do feel the happiest when I have multiple things going on. You know, cheesecake, Sudoku, watching Please Like Me, and Instagram open at the same time. Why does this make me feel peaceful? Who knows? But this is what we're doing. I'm back to watching Please Like Me, and I got some snacks. I'll show you in a second. I only got to page 40 in heaven because I didn't feel like reading, and I just did other stuff, and that's the whole point of taking a week off, is to do absolutely nothing and everything you want to do. And I just didn't feel like reading, so I wasn't reading. I did feel like spending hours on Instagram, and I feel no shame about it. What were we talking about? I think this vlog is just going to be me snacking in bed, possibly reading. Heaven is definitely feeling less heavy, and I'm more intrigued now. It's like easier to get into. It wasn't the vibe in the beginning, but now it's a little bit more of a vibe. So it's the next day. I read a little bit this morning, not much. I'm gonna go out and visit like a remake store now before they close. It's a little bit tight, and I hate going like so close to when they close. It's like 4 o'clock already. Haven't really done anything today, but I thought it'd be nice to like bike somewhere and do that. I think I've been there with you before. I don't know. I think it's gonna be nice. They have 25% off, you know? It's already 10 o'clock, which is what happens when you wake up so fucking late. I'm like 120 pages through this, so it's like 47 pages left. Honestly, it's just kind of boring me. The language or like the writing style is very bland. Not much is happening. It's supposed to be like about the relationship between these 2 kids and how it gets them through being like really heavily bullied. It's also really graphic violence in here. It's getting me down. This is like really not the best time for me to read this. Like, it's really just so depressing. I'm not sure I'm liking like the conversations that are being had like around the subject. Like, not necessarily like bad, but I just don't find them interesting, and they're strange takes by the characters on like what's happening. I'm just not liking the book, to be honest. I was really excited to read Breasts and Eggs by the same author, but I'm not sure I will now, because just like the language is so boring and the plot is so boring, and I kind of just excited to finish it. I would love to finish it tonight, but we'll see. Alright, friends, I finished Heaven, and I'm giving it like 2.75 stars. Wasn't a big fan. It definitely got like easier to read and get into towards the end. The last, I think, 20 pages I actually quite liked, but I found the characters all very empathic or unsympathetic to read about. Like, it was just kind of odd. I don't know, I just generally wasn't like a fan of the conversations. I think it was trying to talk about like life being meaningful versus meaningless, and like what that means from like how you act according to what you believe in, and like the things you find meaning in. If there's like a meaning to pain, or if pain is like meaningless, if pain has to have a purpose or not, and if there always is a purpose to pain, I guess. I'm glad I read it, but very mediocre in my opinion. So that's my review of that book. I think I'm going to start the Ursula K. Le Guin book after this. I think it's going to be a bit more fun, maybe a bit more substance, which is what I'm looking for. And I'm also going to save like the longest, but I think probably the quickest read to the end, which is the Last Heaven book. So that's my plan. I think maybe I'll read like a couple pages tonight, but generally I'm going to start that tomorrow. So good night. These are my very sad breakfast plans. I just got home from ARC, and it was a very slow day. We only sold 2 books. I got myself some udon noodles. I'm just gonna watch a little bit of Kim Possible. Didn't really read at all. Ended up making this comic about a gay couple that's a penguin and a bunny. It was cute. But I'm just gonna hurry up and eat this, and then I will buy hay for the bunnies because they close in half an hour. So a little stress. I also got this really cute tank top on my way home because I felt like it, and it was cheap.
In the way of the ninja.
So I didn't end up like filming anymore yesterday because I essentially decided to do this surprise thing for my partner because we're moving in together with their best friend, and they haven't like seen the space or the room or anything. So I wanted to do like a cute little setup with like flowers and notes and like it was a cute surprise. So I spent all day yesterday doing that, and it was just like just didn't feel like filming it. So yeah, they're coming back today, so I probably won't finish the vlog. I also decided to not read Lathe of Heaven, is that what it's called? Because I wasn't like vibing with it. It was just like kind of too heavy to get into. But I did kind of start reading Heaven by Emerson Whitney, and it's like exactly what I needed. It's like kind of poetic, but also autobiographical, exploring like gender and family, and yeah, like it's great so far. I think I only got to like page 30 or something, but I will definitely continue that one for this vlog. So I guess it's just reading 2 books called Heaven vlog. Yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna continue it, but I also got book mail yesterday, which I thought I'd unbox. This is such a messy setup, but who cares? No, I picked it up today. What am I saying? But I've been looking for a way to read this book for such a long time. Oh my god. Messy, messy, messy. For such a long time. And I'm just like really excited that it's now in my hands because I've been hearing great things about it. And I read another book by this author that I really loved. And I usually, there's not like worth it to buy books other places than like the bookstore I volunteer at because we get a discount and books are so expensive in Denmark. But look! Margaret and the Mystery of the Missing Body by Megan Milks. So I read their other book, Slug and Other Stories. Actually, this is a fun fact. I'm just gonna show you. Kind of like partly because of that book, but also because like I learned about slugs and it was just like really interesting. And I like randomly decided to get a tattoo. It was like super spontaneous. Like an hour before I was just like, I want to get a tattoo. And then when I came to the shop, I just decided to get this. I'll show you because it's relevant. I basically have like the word slug now written on my body, which is fun. And it was like partly because of that book. So I actually have no idea what this one is about. I love books that have like soft covers and then this little flap. Excited to read it. Blurred by cool authors like Casey Platt, Tori Peters, and others that I'll pretend to know. Yay! Exciting! Book mail! I don't do that a lot these days, but I'll catch up with you another day when I'm free, which will be never, sometime, someday.
Hello, friends. This is weird because it is years later and I'm continuing the Heaven vlog. I still want to read this book and I was planning on continuing today. I'm going to restart this book because I do not remember anything about what happened, what's the vibe. I think maybe I got to page 28 because there's a napkin in here. Don't know where this is from. But that's cute. I'll keep using that as a bookmark. Yeah, not much to say because I haven't looked at the footage of the first Heaven book in this vlog, so don't know what I talked about with this book, but I'm just gonna start over and editing Will is gonna have to worry about that. I'm going to go outside. It's 25 degrees right now, so I'm gonna go in the backyard. I'm gonna bring Lilo with me because currently she's just living in the hallway and it's a little sad. So I want her to have some space to run around. I also forgot how nice this book is, like without the dust jacket. Since the first time I wanted to read this, the author Emerson Whitney has released another book called Daddy something. And I was like, oh, I really want to read that one. But I have this book already, so I think it's about time I tackle this. So let's go outside, have a cozy time, and get reintroduced to this book and the concept of this vlog. So I'm going to update you on the book while I have a look at Lilo because she's going very close to the fence. Oh, she disappeared. Just being a little sneaky. But essentially so far, I think it's autobiographical. And Emerson talks about the relationship with their mother, who is ill, I believe, maybe cancer, maybe something chronic, but has been ill, I think, for the majority of their life and has taken the stance of I'm just not going to get involved in her life anymore. But the book kind of chronicles or explores both personally and philosophically a little bit of nature versus nurture, what makes you who you are, where does queerness come from, and how does that reflect in your life depending on the upbringing you have, or yes, questions like these, which I think is very fascinating. And I don't remember that from when I first started this book, the 30 pages that I've read so far, which is how far I've gotten caught up basically on what I had started last time. I just didn't remember any of that. So I'm finding it very interesting this time, and I'm enjoying it much more, also because I've read more similar stuff now, which I hadn't previously. You're being a little sneaky, baby. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm thinking maybe I can read half of this today and then half of it tomorrow, and then I probably won't see you for another 2 years. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna keep reading a little bit because she's finally enjoying it. She's finally becoming a little more free. She was being very clingy in the beginning. Very clingy. Emerson is talking about the epistemology of like the names mommy and daddy and the sexual context around it, which I find interesting, and I'm wondering if like part of that thought process influences like comes up again, like in their next book, which I'm assuming. And the way that the story is like woven in with like anecdotes from their upbringing, their relationship with their mother. Like in the beginning, I was sort of like not fond of like the non-linear structure, but as I'm reading it, I'm like learning to love it, kind of like I'm really getting into it, and I think it feels special so far. It feels special, and there's a lot of like goody bits in there, but it's not fully explored, but in like a very nuanced and interesting way. I think I definitely wish like I brought a pen out here so I could make more notes, but so far really enjoying it. It's past 6 o'clock and I promised I'd make a healthy dinner today, so I should probably get back soon. But Lilo's really enjoying her out time. So cute. I think even though like I don't really have a very complicated relationship to my mom, I think a lot of the points and like the reflections like really resonate with me, and like are also things that I've thought about before. So yeah, I'm just finding it very interesting and entertaining, and I'm getting a better grasp of the timeline of things. And you know, as the book goes on, Emerson takes time to like clarify certain like dates or times, so it's not as like messy as like it first kind of seems when I started it. I think this could be a really good one. Really good one. This book is so clever. I feel like a little bit dumb when reading it, but not because it's like difficult. Like the language is easy to read. It's just the concepts in my brain. But also, I think there's a lot to be read between the lines, and Emerson is like doing it on purpose. It's not all supposed to be like fully understood per se, but they also mentioned how like earlier versions of this book was described as like trauma porn and a lot more explicit in many different areas. So this seems like quite toned down and more focused on like motherhood, the body, gender, femininity, the connections between these different topics. It's actually quite interesting because when we get at these passages from Emerson's like past and upbringing, the way that they write about themselves is very childlike and simple, and there's not a lot of like feeling and thought and nuance in those passages. But then there'll be passages about theory on femininity and bodies and motherhood, and it's very philosophical and theoretical and a lot more intellectual, and so like the contrast is super nice, and also just makes it like a very varied read. And I'm actually reading it quite quickly. I didn't think I would get through like half of this book today, but it seems like I will. Really loving it. So that's very exciting. I also kept thinking about how like I would not have felt this way about this book when I read it 2 years ago. And I just feel like that just goes to show how when you read a book matters so much. And also maybe it's showing me that I need to be rereading more books, in fact, or giving books a second shot. But then again, I just love having new experiences, which is why I don't reread a lot. But who knows where a new experience will come from. Maybe a reread. Gas. So it's the next day, and we've been to see a place at the bookstore, for the queer bookstore. Probably not gonna be it. Then we went to Arc I took some pictures for the Instagram of Arc, and now we're going to see some goats and bunnies and chickens. Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I love goats.
Lappen, den er rød ligesom den der. Det er sikkert den, der har født vin, som stangede mig.
You go through this every day. People touching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just getting touched all day.
Do you like the camera? Are you a model?
He likes you.
Yeah, I gave him. So cute.
Oh, yum. Oh, look at that strut. Yeah.
Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind. We're soaring on top of the world.
So, I read some more today. I have this small part left, page 130. I'm still enjoying the book, very interested. I think Emerson presents Judith Butler or Freud, I don't know how to say his name. Okay. Quotes and stuff that they've said, and doesn't really have their own take on it, but invites the reader to interpret their childhood or their experiences through their eyes, through these reflections or pieces of information or theory that they think might put a perspective or lens on their childhood. And I find it kind of interesting because I don't think Emerson agrees with all of the quotes that they're including. They're just kind of putting it up to the reader. And it makes it a little bit vague. I want kind of a bit more of Emerson's own perspective on it, or thoughts on it, or takes on it. There are bits in there, obviously, but it makes me feel a little dumb because I don't really know exactly what they want me to take away from it. But I do find it very interesting, this perspective of we want to have so much agency over how the world perceives us and who we are, and be free from so many things, right? But we're always going to be influenced by our childhood, our experiences, and to know who we are outside of all that, it's just never going to be possible. And you have to accept that, however it came from, who you are came from, and how other perceives you, where it came from, what shaped you, what's truly you. None of that is real. It's all just how it is. And you'll never figure it out. And I find it exciting. Some people find it scary, but I do think it's very interesting, especially in the context of gender and trauma and bodies and motherhood. I do find it fascinating to think about, but I want more of Emerson themselves in it, because it feels a little cold. But also look up trigger warnings for this, because there's a lot of stuff that's mentioned that can be quite triggering. It's a lot of trauma and experiences that Emerson went through that I also found very interesting to read about. So, enjoying it. But I don't think I'm going to finish it today. We'll see. Season 20 of Survivor. So it's the next day, and I did actually finish the book yesterday, Heaven by Emerson Whitney. I didn't update yesterday. Well, one, because it was late, but two, because I felt like I just needed to sit. Like, I didn't really want to talk about the book, like, the rest of the evening. And I think this book is the reason why I'm a little sad today, TBH. So, I think I really loved it. It's so strange because some of the things, like, some things that I critiqued in a book that I just read and, like, didn't like at all, or things that were present in this book. But I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. I think it left so much space between the theory quotes and the memories that I really, really felt. Like, I really felt this book despite its absence of thought and, like, the coldness within it. Like, I just thought it was really good. I don't think I would like a book that is like this, but this one in particular just really worked for me. And if you want to know more about, like, this book, then read the synopsis, read about the author, because I don't think I explained it very well. And what I said in the beginning about it being cancer, her mother has cancer or something, it's not true. Emerson, their mother, and their grandma all have, like, this medical condition that makes their body be in pain, which is another aspect of, like, their connection to each other and their connection to their bodies and gender and femininity. And it's very complicated. And I think what Emerson did so well is to let the reader just sit within its complexity, not try to explain or think too much, just let the reader be in all the nuance and the contradictions and the complexity of, like, being human. And I think it was done so well, and I really felt the book. And yeah, so I ended up giving it 5 stars, and now I'm super excited to pick up Daddy Boy, Emerson's, like, newer release. But I'm very glad that I finished this first because it's a memoir and more about their past and their upbringing and stuff. And I bet I had more to say on it yesterday, but I just couldn't. I felt too much. And I think I'm trying to review a book that sits in the in-between spaces of contradiction and complexity. And then trying to review that or explain your thoughts on it feels kind of counterintuitive because, like, you're not supposed to do that. But I really loved it. I was wondering throughout the book why the book was called Heaven, and this is the Heaven reading vlog. So there is this one part towards the end where their mother asks Emerson, like, whether they think she's going to go to heaven. And, you know, heaven is, you know, this moment being repeated over and over. Or, like, I would love for heaven to be when you guys were all kids, and this moment here, I don't know if it's a take on, like, heaven is a place on earth type of thing. But that's where the Heaven title comes from. It is kind of an odd title for this book, I think. But I also Googled a lot on Emerson Whitney yesterday, and I think I have a bit of an author crush. There's an author crush moment going on, which I don't get very often, but I definitely got that. Definitely got that with him. Just a cool person. But I'm going to be reading the last book in this vlog, The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin, in September, for Shorty September, which is very exciting. So this vlog will probably go up in September when I read that one. So I'll see you in the next clip when I read Lathe of Heaven. Editing Will here to say that I will be reading The Lathe of Heaven now. We are going to Greece, and the next couple of clips is more of a montage situation of how Greece was, because I filmed all this footage, and I think it's kind of fun, and these vlogs are also for me, but I don't talk about the book in that part. You can always go to the description or jump, because all the timestamps are down there when I talk about this book. But I'm going to Greece. Here's how that was. Heaven.
here with the sight of Acropolis above us. And these ancient walls bear history and secrets, just like in here. And this little hole, there's a box. With logs from the ancient world of the past few years through geocaching.
Say official geocache.
The size of that thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
Hello. So, funnily enough, this is the first time I'm introducing this last part of the vlog, last book of the vlog, the Heaven reading vlog, because I was thinking it would be super cute if I filmed the last bit while I was in Greece, and I was indeed reading Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin in Greece, but Greece ended up being a lot more hectic than I thought. I just showered, which is why my hair looks ironically kind of gross. We went there because one of my best friends was getting married. It's the second queer wedding we've gone to this year, and it's also coincidentally the second Virgo Gemini wedding we've gone to this year. Coincidence? I think not. I don't even know what that means. But I was planning on doing all these cute clips. It ended up being more of a montage situation because we were so tired, so busy. I didn't read much except like in the evening and on the plane pretty much. But it's a very short book, so I've made it exactly halfway through. And my ambitions were to finish this today, but I don't think I'll be able to because it's 6 o'clock and Herdís is making dinner. But I'm really enjoying it, actually. It's been so long since I read The Left Hand of Darkness that I barely remember her writing, what it's like, but I'm really, really enjoying this. Possibly like even more than I gave that 5 stars, but we'll see. It's about this guy who has dreams that are able to change reality. So when he goes into deep REM sleep and has like a effective dream, he changes the way the world is and also the past of how it became that way so that no one remembers what happened before. And he gets caught stealing drugs that suppress his dreams. And so he has to go to like a sleep dream psychologist in a way, and he starts messing with his dreams, and he has no way of like proving that this is happening, right? Because once he's dreamt the dream and changed reality, that's the reality that's been real for everyone forever, which is so interesting. And it's kind of, so far it sort of explores a little bit like the idea of be careful what you wish for, or you know, we all want to change the world and make things better. And as a kid, you know, we write that down in our little diaries that we dream of world peace, but at what cost, kind of? And what if that were to actually happen in our world? Would it be like the way we thought of? So it's very interesting, and I love the mix of kind of like, it is futuristic, but it's almost like it takes place today because it's written in the 70s. And I think it's funny always when you're reading books like this how accurate it is, and the reflections on like climate change and wars and politics, like it feels kind of accurate, although like some things are off obviously, but it's always interesting to read and fascinating. And climate change like is a part of this book, but also the mind relationships. I'm loving the way the book is exploring these topics, and the language is easy to read but also just so well written. So I'm really enjoying this. I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna read a little bit now, and then I'll finish it tomorrow morning, and then this vlog will be done. Very weird last part of this vlog. I hope you enjoyed the Greece montage. Okay, here it says, do you remember anything about April 4 years ago in 98? Which means that this needs to be taking place in 2002, which is a little earlier than I expected, to be honest.
Yo, you're lying.
Alright, ready? Everyone knows their roles.
You really don't need this.
How's the book?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, I'm so far into the book that I'd rather not tell people what's happening in it. But it's quite philosophical. It's based on like theory and Taoism. It's kind of like, would you want to make the world better, but at like what costs? If you wish to eradicate racism, what are you replacing it with? You know?
Fudge.
Fudge.
Replace it with fudge.
Doesn't make any sense.
I think maybe the world needs more fudge
Yeah. That's fair.
and less racism.
Yeah.
Better yet, no racism.
And lots of fudge.
Yeah.
No, but it's like, the things he dreams becomes reality. And towards the end-ish of the book where I am, it's not really a spoiler, he dreams about everyone being gray.
Like in color.
Yeah. Which eradicates racism, but now everyone's gray. Which sucks.
Yeah.
It's quite the roller coaster. I love the mix of like the the speculative elements of like, what if like we explored these like deep theory and philosophical questions through like the supernatural and technology and aliens.
Yeah.
You're filming some misfit.
No. Who's your favorite character in the book?
I like a main character. He's a little cynical, but he's like as average as it gets, pretty much. Your hand's shaking.
I was trying to get the right angle. How old is our main character?
Mid-30s, maybe?
Okay.
That's as average as you get.
Yeah. Thank you for your input.
So, we've come to the end of the vlog, and I have edited the footage. I realized I did not talk about this book, The Lathe of Heaven, in the final wrap-up. I ended up giving it 4.75 stars. I really enjoyed it. I forgot how much I love Ursula K. Le Guin's writing, and I think I gave the Left Hand of Darkness 5 stars, but I like this more and I'm giving it 4.75 stars because my rating system has changed. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's both like silly at times with like the sci-fi and the magic and how his dreams are coming true. And I love books that are silly, but then it also feels very profound, and I feel like Le Guin has like a lot to say, both when it comes to power, humanity, the way you can create your own reality in the ways we do, and also like what's important, the theological, is that what it's called, like Taoism, how it's woven into the story. It expands like what is happening in it a lot, even though a lot of it is very like absurdist in a way. So I enjoyed this a lot. I loved how the depth of the conversation like shifted throughout the book, and it was just like a good time overall. All the characters were a little bit like, what is happening with you? I wrote down some notes when I finished it. I also wrote down that I love a book that tackles climate change and how we like built the world that we have and why, and the problems of it. My God, why is my phone blowing up at this hour? It's way too early. Like, I read it in 2024. It's written in 1971, and it takes place in 2002, which is so interesting. And I feel like a lot of the things that she was speculating about are like eerily accurate, but maybe she should have said it in 2026. Like, I think we have been predicting our doom earlier than we think all the time, when things do take longer, even if we're progressing very fast. But it was just very fun reading like a sci-fi that's a classic kind of thing. I do really enjoy that. So I recommend. It was a good time. It's thought-provoking and funny and silly and all the things that I usually enjoy. So this was great. And now to like the vlog thing. Honestly, I loved watching myself from 2 years ago, and the fact that I just like never watched this footage in the meantime, you know, I've never seen any of it. And like, I'm still in a relationship with Herdís, and that's the person I was like, I'm in a relationship now. And it's just like, oh my god. I was still doing drag. Now I'm opening a queer bookstore. The home was a mess. Thank God Herdís came into my life, and now it's less of a mess. Just, I feel like I both grown so much, and I also wish I was more like that person in some ways. Like, I feel like I cared less, and I do miss that, but I think it's something that I can also get back to in a way. It's not one of those like youthful carelessness feelings that I had. It's more of just, I spend a lot of time with other people, and I don't anymore. But I will be spending a lot more time with other people once I open the bookstore. These 3 books, the fact that they all have heaven in the title, kind of irrelevant in a way. I mean, they all incorporate heaven into the text in different ways. I originally wanted to do like more books as well, because I found a lot of other great books with heaven in the title. But these 3 are the ones I picked, and we got a 5-star, amazing. We got a 4.5 star, and this was what, like a 2.75, 3 stars something, I don't remember, but this was such a long time ago. You just saw me talk about it. So all in all, a successful vlog. Super cool. New author, new favorite author, old favorite author rediscovered. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish it was intentional. Maybe I should have read this in 2 years instead. That would have been something, huh? Thank you so much for watching this vlog and following my journey. Were you following me back then? Were you subscribed? Did we talk? Let me know in the comments. And thank you for following me on this journey, if you have. I hope you're having a great day, great cozy holiday season. I'll talk with you all soon. Bye!